Well, it is a beautiful morning, a beautiful Wednesday morning. I know, I'm late. I was watching Off the Wall and Krish, kind of do their thing last night. We also got some information, but I'm going to wait until Idaho confirms that information, which is, they're probably going to, which I mean, that's probably not surprising. Chris Reynolds is a cheap guy. He's been cheap, but, yeah. So Eau Claire, they will play in the Sun and Tag Center. After all, the league and the team, got rid of their beef, got rid of their beef with the arena, and now things are going up for Eau Claire. The Kelsey brothers, they have become part owners of St. Joe's, the Goats, who unfortunately lost on a last-second Hail Mary. Ray J. Johnson with a big catch. Ozarks with the win, 54-50. Duluth, a lot of people think, myself included, they will repeat as champions. They were down against Iowa early, but then they came back and, put belt to Rabbits in the second half, 71-55 there. And then Hot Springs and Eau Claire, the two expansion teams they played. Eau Claire, whipping out a full house looking formation, which me and Off the Wall were impressed by because I'm a full house junkie, which I've even said, I haven't said this, before, but I am a full house formation junkie. I love that formation so much. Such a beautiful formation. It just looks beautiful, looks absolutely immaculate. So, TAL first week, again, a lot of people, are on, there's some people that are definitely on the fence, about the TAL, there's the whole fan club thing, which apparently there's like a subscription for that. I'm not buying into that. The league's channel got nuked, somehow. And so we had to go separate streams for each of the games, which were very well produced. And of course, Tim Brown was at, one of the games, he was at the, definitely at the Eau Claire Hot Springs game. So, yeah. On the other side of the 7-on-7 spectrum, the Entertainment Football Association is looking kind of rough right now. The New York Dragons front office, the first guy to leave, which was more publicly known, was Peter Schwartz, who's, been in the New York football scene for a long time. He left the front office, and then more guys left the front office after that. And now the league is trying to switch to a round robin format, which starts July the 26th. There's so much that I didn't look into, which is actually kind of bad, now. The Northeast just isn't a major player in the indoor arena football scene like that, aside from maybe the Albany Empire, it's just not there. The demand and the supply is just not there. And if the Entertainment Football Association goes belly under, it's going to be, we're going to look back at this and say, we got duped again. I definitely got duped because, the New York Dragons were the driving force behind this, Northeast 7-on-7 version of TAL, Amarillo's on the verge of coming back. I think they are trying to go to the AF1. I think that's what has been kind of, a thing. Lee Curtis is on that, spearheading that, or at least part of spearheading that. Cedar Rapids, Don Montero has revived Titan's name, try and get some nostalgia back. I don't know if that's going to work. Fishers signs Carlos Davis. Tommy Armstrong comes out of retirement. He goes to Omaha, which is insane to me, but all right, it's fine. So let's talk about the IFL. Start on Thursday night, which was, very surprising. Massachusetts upsetting Jacksonville 43-29. Quad City, Green Bay, San Diego all get wins. Vegas upsets Arizona, beat them by 15. Then San Antonio with a huge win, against Tucson. Again, there's a lot of muck, at like the bottom half of the IFL standing, like San Antonio, to Massachusetts, Iowa, Fishers is in that boat. Tucson's kind of in that boat too. Northern Arizona, of course, is terrible. But yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know where we are with the IFL this year is like, hey, a lot of people are like, Quan Neal, best player in the league, MVP, some people argue TJ Edwards, some people are, just arguing to be arguing, but it is what it is. So, my personal opinion does not matter at this point because I've hardly watched any IFL this year. I'm not going to lie to you. Definitely going to be looking forward to the games this weekend, though. The Jacksonville Mass rivalry. Is this even? Can you even call this a rivalry? It's more of a toxic brotherhood than anything. It's always funny when those two teams get together, and like I don't get it. It is definitely a toxic rivalry. It's so bad. Both teams just the fans. Don't get me wrong. The fans go back and forth with these two teams, each and every time. So, on the other side, the NAL has finished their regular season up. Beaumont with a huge win over Shreveport, going into the playoffs with big momentum. They'll host a home playoff game this Saturday. Same thing with the Omaha Beef, who beat Colorado off of a deuce at the end. Colorado had the lead, squandered it, and lost on a deuce. I know Fred Shaw is like, maybe we can still host, the NAL championship. We got to beat Omaha, next week, So, I mean, kudos to Omaha. They got another home playoff game on the quest to get another championship, And then Wheeling beat Columbus, which I don't know what Columbus was doing in this game. They had this game in the bag. They just could not get it done. They could not get everything done. On the other side, we have the AF1 looking just like, what even are these games, at this point, Nashville had a touchdown, one of those, hey, I fumbled before I got to the goal line type touchdowns, that did not get reviewed or anything. Nobody really cared because Nashville won anyway. Or rather, nobody said anything because Nashville won anyway. So you did hear it from me. The other two games, on the other hand, were absolutely terrible. I'm telling you, Oregon getting smacked around by Billings was bad, which Billings is rebranded to the Outlaws Arena football team, which is kind of crazy. Titus is still trying to get that team moved somewhere. I'm telling you, he's got to do a little bit better than what he's been doing right now. And then, the Washington Wolfpack may be one of the worst teams of all time. Like, this is 2019 Cedar Rapids level bad, Like, Cedar Rapids got shut out twice that year. I don't know why people don't remember that Cedar Rapids got shut out twice that year. Like, that team was terrible. This Washington team is god-awful. How do you only score 4 points? 4! I don't even know if one was like a rouge and then like a field goal. Like, I don't get it. I just don't get it. It's terrible. The AAL2 is about to wrap up their season as well, but I mean, at least those teams can score. Jersey, New Jersey, Mississippi, and Georgia all won. Well, Georgia won via forfeit because Carolina only had 7 players. But yeah, the Washington Wolfpack, like, the offense is just not there. It's out of the loop. It doesn't know what it's doing. We're throwing up arena football road to glory type plays to get this offense, moving at least a little bit at something, because, like, come on, something's got to give here. Something's got to give. And what's not giving? The fact that we still have to watch this team for 2 more weeks. 2 more games of this team. Playoffs are, nearing in the AF1 as well. Southwest Kansas and Albany, of course, have clinched 2 of the 4 spots. The other 2 spots are basically up for grabs at this point. Honestly, if it's not a combination, of Nashville or Salina, I think that a lot of people, some people want Billings to get in there, but I think Billings is a bit too much to overcome in these final 2 weeks for Billings to get there. But personally, whatever we get, as far as, because I believe Southwest Kansas is going to host. They're going to host. Albany is definitely going to host, and Southwest Kansas is going to host the other one, which I don't know when that other playoff game will be. We know when Albany's is. I think it's like June 20th or the 21st. It's either the 20th or the 21st. Either one of those days. I forget which one, but yeah. AF1, there's been some good games, but mostly there have been some terrible games. It's been mostly terrible, to be quite honest, to me, anyway. To me, like, you go back and you look at some of these scores from this year so far. I think the quality, is not as great as it has been, but I mean, there have been some good games again, Nashville Corpus was a good game, but it was only one of 3 games that were good, this past weekend, which is not what you want to attract people into this game, So yeah, after all that momentum, kind of, was getting off the TAL, the momentum is back in their favor. And again, I implore you to at least try to watch TAL, watch the IFL, watch the AL, AF1, AL2, all those are good. But the TL, some people are like, I can't do 7-on-7. I can't do, only one guy blocking the center. I can't do all that. I can't do that. When? Try. If you don't try, then you won't succeed. So I'm going to get on up out of here, and I'll see you next week. We'll talk some lacrosse, some volleyball. Yes, we're going to talk volleyball. I know. AVP. I know. PLL, lacrosse, first couple weeks of that season. And then, of course, this weekend in no football will be hopefully on next Tuesday. I there's no school, so, there's no reason for me not to release this on Tuesday. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to get on up out of here, and hope you all enjoy your Wednesday and the rest of your summer, because it's going to be good times for all of us. So Big Boy Summer is here, and I'm glad to be here with you. Take care, everybody, and I'll see you on Monday. Or is it Sunday? I think it's Sunday. I'll definitely see you on Sunday.